Hello everyone and welcome back to Crown and Stem. My name is Dennis Callow. This is my channel about watches, and today on the show we are talking about 5 iconic movie watches and where you can get them, either on a budget or if you want to get the real ones and you got the cash, you could do that too. But first, we have to do a couple of little things. If you want to skip ahead, I have put chapters below if you want to get right into the meat of the situation. So first things first is wristwatch check. I am wearing my Borman $100 watch. I covered it in 3 watches that you can get for under $500. This thing has gotten the most wrist time out of all 3 watches. I don't think you can go wrong with this watch at all. It is beautiful. I actually find it a little distracting because when I wear it, I always have to look down at it. And I think that that's a really good gauge that you've made the right choice. I highly recommend it. Yeah, you're going to want to wear it all the time once you get it. Secondly, I have to say thank you because this channel has reached its first milestone, which is we hit over 500 subscribers in 3 months, which is awesome. That means we're halfway to 1,000 subscribers. That's halfway to monetization for me, which is really cool. And once we hit 1,000 subscribers, I am going to be giving away one of my watches that I personally made, that I constructed out of parts from AliExpress. So please help me get to 1,000 subscribers. If you're new here and you feel like I've earned your subscription by the end of this video or right now, please hit subscribe. It is the best way to support the channel right now. And now, with all that being said, let's get into today's video. So some of you may or may not know that I am a filmmaker. That's what I do. I'm also a photographer, and I made a show called The Trouble with Tessa. It's a horror TV show that I made for Screenbox TV for them. It wasn't like we made the show and then sold it to someone. They hired us to make the show. They gave us a budget and we went and we made it. It's now wide release, so you can watch it on Tubi for free. I would love for you guys to go check it out. The episodes are really short. They're about like 20 to 25 minutes long. We're really proud of the show. We did it for a very, very, very small budget. And part of the reason why I'm telling you about it is not just so I hope that you check it out and see what I do, but also because I used something called watch casting in the show. And what watch casting is that when you're watching a movie, sometimes you'll see characters wearing watches. And most of the time, if the director or the actor is putting a lot of care into the character, the watch is going to mean something about them or tell you something about them. We did that with Tessa, the lead character. They have a watch that their father gave them, and it is a vintage Longines. It was mine that I owned, and I gifted to Katrin, the lead actor, after it was done because they just did an amazing job for very little money and carried this whole show on their shoulders, and they just deserved it. One of the most brilliant examples of watch casting is in the movie Training Day. If you haven't seen Training Day, I highly recommend it. It's one of the best movies, period. And 2 of the best performances from actors Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington. Fun fact is I have photographed Ethan Hawke numerous times for Film Forum. He is an awesome guy, and I really enjoy his company. He's very sweet and very fun. But the story that their watches individually tell are amazing about their characters, because Ethan Hawke's character is this rookie who is very by the book, wants to do the right thing, and the watch that he wears is a utilitarian Casio G-Shock, which is 100% his character. There's a couple of like close-ups of the watch, which I think was definitely intentional because you wanted to see that he was sort of like the working class guy. And then you have Denzel, and Denzel is wearing this blinged out presidential Rolex type of watch. It's not a Rolex. It was a replica watch, or it was made for the actual movie. It wasn't like a watch that you could buy. And it's big and it's bold. And that says a lot about his character, because his character is sort of on the periphery of everything and controlling everything. And that watch couldn't be more perfect for him, because not only does it say, I'm the king, I'm in charge, it also says, I don't need to lift a finger, I have other people do that for me. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant. So watch casting in movies is 100% a thing. And if you see a watch in a movie and it's very prominent, there is a reason for that, and now you know. And so when you're watching movies, pay attention to the watches that people are wearing, because I guarantee you that there was some effort put into why they're wearing it and what it has to do with their character. So be on the lookout for that the next time you watch a movie. I love the movie Drive. It kind of shocked me when I saw it because when I saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be like a Fast and Furious kind of thing. I mean, that's the way the trailer sort of made it look. And so I go see this movie with a friend and I was like, oh, this is an art film. This is not just, you know, some throwaway popcorn movie that you just forget about as soon as you leave the theater. One of the biggest things in this movie was the watch. And I think that this movie inadvertently got a lot of people into wristwatches. I became completely obsessed with it, and I am still obsessed with trying to find a watch that looks like it and has the same feel of it. And the cool thing is that he actually worked with the props department to design the watch, and they landed on the Patek Calatrava. I also want to shout out the props master, Will Blout, I believe is the pronunciation of his name. He was the one that helped to design it with Ryan Gosling. This watch is nothing like the real Calatrava. It's basically an homage watch. It's a fake watch that they made several for the movie, because if they had to keep destroying Calatravas, that was going to be a huge expense on the budget. So they had to make just these fake watches. What I did was I went and I found a bunch of watches that resemble this one. I've got 3 for you. Now, this one I feel like is the closest because it has the numbered subdial, which is a feature on the Drive watch that I was always obsessed about. So this Borman comes really, really close. Being that I own a Borman now that I am in love with, I have no problem recommending this brand just because it has that numbered subdial. I feel like this gets really, really, really close to it. And I also really like the rose gold option. I think that's really cool too. So the second watch that I like in this Drive obsession is a Farasuit watch. And Farasuit is actually a really good brand. I am only recommending this because I've heard high praises from other YouTubers that I trust about this brand on AliExpress, and I think that this watch is absolutely beautiful. So this says that it's a 39mm watch. It looks smaller than the Borman. This one is so close to the Drive watch. It's almost identical, except it doesn't have the numerals on the subdial, which sucks because if it had that, this would probably be like an almost 1-to-1 of the Drive watch. And then finally, we have the Baltony, which is another brand that I've heard really good stuff about, but I haven't had a hands-on experience with them. This one is awesome. It's a 38.5mm. Now they're calling it a pilot watch. This one to me resembles more of an Omega Constellation than anything. The white dial version with the brown strap is going to be the one that's closest to the Drive watch. Of these 3 options, I would say this one is the least 1-to-1 of the Drive watch, but I think it's one that you will easily fall in love with. We are going to talk about All the President's Men. This movie is an all-time classic. I love this movie. It's my comfort movie. I put it on, I don't know, maybe like once a week. I love the way it's shot. They use really cool split diopter shots in this. If you're a cinematography nerd, you know what that is. The film's directed by Alan J. Pakula, who also did Klute, which is another great movie with one of the most disturbing endings of all time for me. I highly recommend going out and watching Klute. One of the things about this film is that Robert Redford is wearing his very own Rolex Submariner in it. Now, he also wore this in The Candidate, which I have not seen. I haven't seen The Candidate. I'll probably watch it this weekend. The watch is prominently shown throughout All the President's Men. And I remember being a kid seeing All the President's Men, or a teenager, you know, when I was starting to get into movies, and being like, man, that watch is nice. And so he just wore his own watch in these roles, which I thought was really cool because this was before you had celebrity stylists. This was before you had someone on set going, you know, well, I think that this character should wear this watch and we got to put this in for product placement and things like that. The watch itself is completely unattainable. I mean, you can't get the model that he has. I don't believe like it doesn't exist anymore. And one of the things is it has a red text line at the very bottom. This watch, if you want to get it, it's so homaged, it's ridiculous. Like you can get Invictas, you can get, you know, anything to look like a Rolex Submariner. But I sort of went a different route and I went with San Martin for this one. And I think the San Martin BB58 40mm version is the closest in the colorway that is just all silver, no gilt on the hands or on the dial itself, with the red accent on the top, so you're getting a red accent just like Robert Redford's watch. I think that this is the best version of the All the President's Men watch. I think it would have really good wrist presence, just like the one that he wears. It looks more like a Tudor than it does a Rolex, and come on, we all know Tudor's much cooler than Rolex, right? Right? Are we all in agreement about that? So that's it for All the President's Men. I'm dying to get this watch. I think that this is the next purchase that I'm going to make when I can make it. Okay, so now we're going to talk about one of my favorite filmmakers, and that is Christopher Nolan. And I'm sure you're all going to think that I am going to talk about the Hamilton Murph, and I am not, believe it or not, because I think that there is a more iconic watch that doesn't get a lot of love, and that is the watch from Inception. Inception, I think, is probably my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. It has the feel of James Bond, but with the sort of science fiction, non-linear storytelling that only Christopher Nolan can do. I also think it is a super stylish movie. One of the reasons for that is the watch that Leo is wearing, and it is a Tag Heuer. This one I have actually seen in person because my dad owns it, and I didn't even know that he had it. I will eventually own the watch from Inception, which I think is really, really cool. The model that he wears in the film is the Caliber 5. There's a lot of close-ups of the watch in the movie. I think that this watch deserves just as much love as the Hamilton Murph. I'm more partial to the Inception watch. I think it's really, really great. I think that you could actually just build this watch yourself. That's the best option, I would say, is just build your own. But if you really want to get one that's pre-built and you don't want to build it yourself, again, I'm going back to the Borman. The first Borman that I showed you, they do a stainless steel black version. The reason why this one is a little cooler is because it does have a sub-seconds on it. You can also just get the original for around $2,000 to $3,000. Now, if you have that kind of money, I say just get the original. You know what I mean? I just buy it. You're going to be more satisfied owning the actual watch that they used in Inception. I mean, who has not seen this movie? And if you haven't, please go out and watch it. I used to want to dress like Marty McFly. I mean, he was sort of a style icon for a lot of us, even down to the sneakers. I wanted to be him. But of course, time plays the most important part in Back to the Future, and Marty is wearing a Casio calculator watch. I can't tell you how cool kids were who had Casio calculator watches. I was obsessed with one of my friend's databanks because he was able to store my phone number in it. And that blew my mind because he was showing me that he got girls' phone numbers and put them on his wrist. When now you can just wear a watch that does pretty much everything. Your watch can do your taxes at this point. But back then it was oh my God, you're storing phone numbers, bro? Oh my God! Is really funny because there's a scene where he shakes his wrist like it's not working, but it's a digital watch. So I always thought that was a very funny thing. And if you're a watch person and you're in the know, you're like, why are you shaking a digital watch? So the watch that Michael J. Fox wore in the movie was the Casio CA50, and you can get them for $30. It is now called the CA53W. It's the same exact watch. There's also a really fancy one, which is really cool, and that's the data bank. They make that one in stainless steel. That's more expensive. That's about $70, and that's the one that you can store phone numbers in. It's such a great watch to have in your collection, especially if you're a movie buff, and I still think that calculator watches are so cool and so technologically awesome that everyone should have them in their collection. All right, folks, and the last watch on this list is from a movie with George Clooney called The American. The movie is directed by Anton Corbijn, who, famously started photographing U2 and went on to direct amazing movies, and I love this movie. If you have not seen it, please go out and watch it. It is such an underrated movie. It almost feels like a foreign film from the 70s because it is slow and deliberate and quiet in moments. I think it's one of Clooney's best performances, and it's directed pristinely by Anton Corbijn. And a watch plays an essential role in this film because Clooney actually uses it to time how fast he's putting together a weapon. And that watch that he's wearing is the Omega Speedmaster. And we all know that that watch is totally iconic. If you can afford a Speedmaster, go for it, get the original. I mean, you're not gonna be disappointed by it. But if you want some alternatives, here they are. So the first is an AliExpress brand, and that is the Thorn Spacewalker. Now, this is an homage to the Omega trilogy that came out, and Thorn basically just copied these and made them. This is pretty close to the Clooney model, and it has that retro feel, but it is not a one-to-one. All of these are not one-to-ones of the Speedmaster. It's very tough to find a one-to-one. I was shocked at how hard it was to find a one-to-one. But this Thorn comes really, really close. And then next on the list, we have one of my favorite brands, which is a Bulova Marine Star. This thing is awesome. I think this looks really, really close. It's 45 millimeters. I mean, God, these things are dinner plates, man. They're so big. I think that this one actually looks really close to the Omega Speedmaster. The size is a turn off for me. 45 is huge. I don't know what it would look like on my wrist, but probably way too big. But this is one that's good for anyone who would want something that has a nice chunky wrist presence. I mean, this is absolutely for you. So check out the Bulova Marine Star, and that's coming in at around 500 for you. And then finally, one of the most impressive AliExpress brands that I've seen is Sugess, which not a lot of people talk about. I've owned a Sugess, and they are absolutely beautiful, and they're worth every penny. This is a higher priced AliExpress watch. This one comes in at 39 millimeters, which is great. And it actually has an automatic chronograph movement, and that movement is the Peacock SL 4801. This is a thicker watch. It's 12.5 millimeters, so it's about the same thickness as the watch that I'm wearing right now. But for a chronograph, that's actually pretty thin, I would say. I mean, it looks more like a Rolex Daytona than it does an Omega Speedmaster. I mean, my only gripe with it, I would say, is that I don't like the font that they used. I think that they could have used a better font on it, but this is gonna come really close to that George Clooney watch in the American, and I don't think you can go wrong with this because it's a watch that you're gonna wanna keep forever too in your collection just based on the specs alone. So that's it, folks. Those are my 5 iconic watches from movies. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did I hit the mark on these, or did I completely miss the mark? What are some of your favorite movie watches that I didn't mention? Obviously, you know, there's James Bond, but I feel like that's over covered. Wow, we don't need to keep talking about James Bond watches. Let's talk about some new ones. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you did enjoy it. And if I've earned your subscription, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here, and I hope you come back, and I'll see you on the next episode of Crown and Stem.